Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And just to follow up on Senator Tester's point, and a point that you were making, General, for the ICBM fields, they're flying Hueys out there. So, and that's your active duty forces are flying Huey helicopters out to the missile field. So when Senator Tester talks about the importance of both the facilities and the new aircraft for our missileers, you realize it is very important when they're flying aircraft that's far older than the people flying them, far older.
Senator, in fact, I think it was in September or October, we did choose the follow-on aircraft to replace the Hueys. So that decision is made in the FY20 budget, buys 4 replacement test articles in FY20. So we're beginning the replacement of the Huey. And
those aircraft are?
I'm sorry, sir?
And they are what?
I never remember the numbers, so I would.
UH-60Ws, I believe.
What is it?
We'll get that for you.
Oh, UH-60, right. Blackhawk?
Yes, it's not the 60, but I'll...
well, that's the right pick.
I'll mess up the number, so I'll get
No, you won't. Sure. We're going to really miss you. We're disappointed that you're leaving. You've done a phenomenal job, and you're going to be dearly missed. Hopefully, we're going to keep General Goldfein around for a good long while yet, but best wishes to you, but we really appreciate your service, and we'll miss you greatly. You've been tremendous. How are we doing on catching up on the pilot shortage, something we've talked about?
We've actually, in the end of, we look at the numbers at the end of the year, we ended up producing a few more pilots than we anticipated and kind of stopped the slide. Next year in the FY20 budget, we're going to increase the number going through pilot training, and we hope that our continued efforts at pilot retention and support for pilots trying to reduce the number of 365-day overseas tours, trying to give pilots more control, implementing our new talent management system so people get more say in their next assignment and more control over their lives, that those will help with retention, but we also need to increase production. So it's production, seasoning, and retention. If we continue on this path, producing about 1,500 pilots a year, we think we will close the gap and have the number of pilots we need by FY23-24 timeframe.
Even with the increased commercial airline hiring and so forth?
Yes, sir, we do. And part of it is we are going to have to produce more pilots. So we're going to have to produce about 1,500 pilots a year rather than about 1,100. We can do that in the way that with our current infrastructure. And then we have to really focus on the quality of life, quality of service.
Hey, Senator, I also want to thank you because I've talked a lot about this, which is this is the national shortage of pilots. Mm-hmm. To do not only military aviation, but also commercial and business aviation. And so we are also doing incentives to get America's youth flying again. Civil Air Patrol, putting money into the junior ROTC, University of North Dakota, other avenues where we're trying to get more pilots produced to be able to fulfill the requirement across the nation. And so I just want to thank you for your work on that.
Well, and that's appreciated, and I think the reason you're starting to make traction get traction is because you are looking at all these avenues to draw people into the pilot ranks, and I really commend you for it. Arctic mission, how are we doing on reaching out in the Arctic mission?
So you may have said that Secretary Wilson and I put out an op-ed on that because the Air Force has got a significant footprint in the Arctic mission, first and foremost in Homeland Defense, and making sure that we have the assets that are up there that will be able to detect the threats and we can protect the homeland. For power projection, you take a look at Alaska. By the time we complete the bed down of F-35s there, it'll be the state with the most number of 5th-gen high-end assets here that can launch as a platform into the Arctic. And it's also about domain awareness. It's about making sure that we have the weather forecasting and make sure we have the space situational awareness. So we are very heavily invested in the Arctic, and we are working right now with our partners, our Arctic partners, Canada, Finland, Norway, Sweden, on an Arctic challenge exercise to ensure that we further advance our military capabilities to protect that region.
Well, in North Dakota, we speak fluent Canadian, so if we can help you, you let us know.
You bet.
The last question I have goes to the nuclear triad. It's incredibly important, and we need to update and modernize it. I'd like your thoughts in that regard.
Mr. Chairman, nuclear weapons and nuclear deterrence have helped to keep the peace for over 70 years. And the Air Force has 2 of the 3 legs of the triad, as well as about 75% of nuclear command, control, and communication. Those legs of the triad are in need of modernization, both the replacement of the Minuteman missile, but also the replacement of the cruise missile. These are systems that are, the Minuteman, the first stage of the Minuteman that's in silos today was built in 1970. So we need to upgrade these systems, and our budget includes the funds for the continued work on the modernization of the nuclear deterrent, as well as the upgrading of the nuclear command, control, and communication.
And the LRSO, incredibly important for the safety of our aircraft fleet and our pilots, right? And as we face more sophisticated air defense systems. Correct?
Yes, sir. And of course, it's all in support of the Stratcom commander's mission. And I'll share with you, sir, that Secretary Mattis, when he first came in, from Stanford, had some serious questions about the nuclear enterprise. And then through the process of our going through the nuclear posture review, became an advocate for all three legs of the triad. And I'll share with you the same advice I gave him and then gave recently to Secretary Shanahan. There are two things that I would advise in terms of military advice. Number one, I would never advise us to unilaterally disarm our nuclear enterprise when our adversaries are arming theirs and building more capacity and capability. That makes no sense to me that we would ever go down that path. The second advice is we should never, and I got to be careful here to stay on unclassified terms, but I would never advocate or recommend that we place ourselves in a position where we would no longer have a second strike capability, because potential adversaries are calculating whether they could defeat us, and we want there into their calculus that we can always respond no matter what they do. Mm-hmm. And with the triad, we can.
Thank you. But again, thank you, Madam Secretary, very much.
Thank you, Senator Hogan.